Gentle World is a number of things. It's a charitable trust here in New Zealand, it's a non-profit educational organization, and it's a vegan intentional community in existence for over 40 years. Our New Zealand Centre is located right at the far north of the North Island of New Zealand, just south of the town of Kaitaia. Our United States Centre is located on the Big Island of Hawaii in the area of North Kohala, which is right at the northernmost tip of the island. Our New Zealand Centre is a 454-acre sanctuary that we call Shangri-La, surrounded by acres of native forest reserve.
Our Gentle World has quite a large area of land. Most of it's hill country with a regenerating bush, and we're certainly blessed to having good water here because we're surrounded by a ring of mountains or hills, so the water that comes out of the hills comes down into our valley and the water channels through, so we have no shortage of good water.
All of the water that flows onto the land collects into these two pristine rivers that flow through our property that are so clean we can actually drink from them.
You should try some.
Our mission as an organization is to enhance the quality of life for both humans and non-human animals by educating the public as to the reasons for being vegan, the benefits of vegan living, and how to go about making the transition.
When Light and I became vegan in February of 1970, there was just one reason for it. It wasn't because of the health benefits, which were unknown at the time, as was the environmental sanity of eating that way and living that way. If there were factory farms, if they existed, we never heard of them. There was no animal rights movement even outside the mainstream. In fact, we didn't learn until years later that there was a word for what we were doing, because the word and the concept were virtually unknown.
Gentle World published one of the first totally vegan cookbooks in 1981, the Cookbook for People Who Love Animals, which has since sold over 100,000 copies. With the publication of this book, Gentle World became a non-profit educational organization, and its members became a team of volunteer vegan educators and maintainers of the Educational Center, which was in Florida at that time.
We had each other, and that kept us on track. But everybody we knew thought we were crazy because we did not want to support cruelty. Now, what does that tell you about the world?
Veganism is definitely was the catalyst for our commune, which, by the way, we didn't consider. We didn't think of the word commune. We thought of it as friends getting together who saw the animal, the plight of the animals in the same way, and decided to become vegan. That brought us together. We were very rare indeed that people saw it that way, so that the few of us got together. And have been together ever since.
Light and Sun have been a beacon spreading the light of veganism for over 44 and a half years. As a matter of fact, I was the first person that became a vegan as a result of their direct influence on me. And I'm very happy that I have been a vegan all these years, and I've never regretted it for 1 second.
Throughout the 80s, Gentle World volunteers worked to spread the message of veganism far and wide, including the publication of 2 evolutionary books by Dr. Michael Clapper, who was a forerunner in plant-based nutrition: Vegan Nutrition Pure and Simple, and Pregnancy Children in the Vegan Diet. Both of these offered nutritional assurance to thousands of people at a time when the health benefits of a vegan diet were little known.
When you follow your conscience to do something that right, wow, the thrill of it, I can't tell you enough. The thrill of it, it let me know that wow, you do what's right. It's not a sacrifice of what you want. In fact, the feeling is so much more rewarding than whatever you had to give away to get it. So much more rewarding. And to learn that, to learn what an epiphany of feeling that was for me at the time, taught me that that would be my life.
At that time, Gentle World began to offer free seminars, cooking classes, veganic gardening classes, and produced 2 celebrity vegan banquets in Hollywood. In 1989, the group moved to Maui, Hawaii, and opened a vegan restaurant, serving delicious vegan fare to an international clientele with great success. In the year 2000, the U.S. Center was moved from Maui to the Big Island of Hawaii, and Gentle World opened a second seasonal center in the North Island of New Zealand. In 2003, we published our second cookbook, Incredibly Delicious Recipes for a New Paradigm. And in 2009, to spread our message further, we began the development of a website and email newsletter that offer free online vegan education to a rapidly growing audience. In addition to our other forms of outreach, we also offer a unique opportunity for interested individuals to participate in our live-in educational program, where people from all over the world are invited to live, work, and learn alongside our volunteers in helping us to maintain and develop our 2 educational centers and our outreach program. Gentle World is not a business. There are no salaries paid. Everyone volunteers their time and energy because they believe in the goals of Gentle World.
It's been 4 days now.
4 days.
Yeah.
And short time, it's like long time we are here. So we enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a Shangri-La. It's a wonderful place, very peaceful. There's a lot of flowers and it's very, very nice. So there's nice walks around, and we live in a little caravan, which is so we have our own space, which is nice.
Good rest.
Yeah, it's
Good feeling.
yeah, it's good to be here.
Yeah.
When we bought this land 15 years ago, we felt that it had been used in many different ways that were harmful, both to the animals and to the land itself. One of the first things we did was to remove all of the barbed wire that was fencing the land and had fenced all those animals in. Along with the fences were different gates and areas where the animals had been kept. There was a huge stockyard with big posts, way bigger than your leg, and that was then turned into the post into a grape arbor that now holds these beautiful grapes. And the stockyard was dismantled completely and is now just a beautiful green field. There was a shed that we knew was as a wool shed where they had taken the wool off of sheep. And we found out later that not only had it been a wool shed, but it had been a dairy shed before that. It was really beautiful to see that gone because so much animal harming had been done there. Many aspects have changed on the land since we've owned it. Many of the young native plants and forested ferns, palms, seedlings, all were not growing because the cattle, as they went through, were eating all of the underbrush. There's a beautiful spot where the water cascades over the rocks, and we call it Freedom Rock because it was covered with barbed wire and a fence was put across the river, obviously to keep the cattle from going that way. And removing it, it became Freedom Rock and Freedom Pool.
Being vegan is more a way of living than a real diet. So I'm thinking about being vegan for more to dwindle my impact on the planet and being more, having a way of living more sustainable than having a real diet.
Vegans do not only subscribe to a plant-based diet or abstain from the use of animal products as a reaction to the treatment of animals. Vegans object to our use of animals as resources in and of itself, whether the individuals in question are being housed in factories or in small backyard family farm situations. This includes, but is not limited to, the use of animals for food, clothing, such as wool and leather, cosmetics, experimentation and entertainment, and any situation where animals are treated as commodities. Vegans as a whole do not object to the practice of sharing one's home with animals. Many of us take tremendous joy in being able to adopt or rescue the unwanted refugees of the pet trade. Just down the road from us is a picnic spot where people often abandon unwanted animals. And 12 years ago, a dog showed up who had clearly been abandoned and was suffering from the results of horrific physical abuse.
Kisses was abandoned, and it was love at first sight, and she trusted me and I trusted her, and we were very, very close. When she would run and greet me when I came home with this big howl, like she didn't care if the whole world knew how much she loved me. I wanted to think of her in an alive way, you know, not to just be sad all the time when I'm thinking about her. So I built this very alive, happy place in her memory, because when I go in there and I see the kisses sign, I just remember the times. And she ate a vegan diet, 13 and a half of her 15 years.
Dogs are metabolically omnivores. A lot of people don't know that. And they can convert beta carotene into vitamin A, as we humans can do. And that is one of the qualities of being considered an omnivore. So they're metabolically omnivore. They do fine on a balanced vegan diet. Gentle World has successfully fed dog friends a 100% plant-based diet for 3 decades or more, and it's a cookbook for people who love animals. In the back of the book, it has recipes for feeding dogs a vegan diet. The dogs do great on it. We've had many dogs live to age 15, 16, 17, healthy, beautiful, happy, tail-wagging dogs. And if you can avoid participating in harming animals while you're living with your dog friends, it just makes a lot of sense.
When they come to stay, sometimes people arrive thinking that vegan food is something very unfamiliar to them. And then, of course, when they just sit and eat with us, whether it's lunch or dinner, they find that it's really not as unfamiliar as what they might have thought initially. And they come to sort of an organic understanding of how you eat as a vegan.
Here in Shangri-La, we have like incredibly delicious food that's grown from the garden. We grow corn, potatoes, buttercup squash, rows of cucumbers and tomatoes. It's amazing how much we grow here, and we love to prepare meals together, and people help each other, and we share in the meal preparation. Often we have woofers come through who help us with the meals, and we try to make everything not just healthy but also delicious. On very special occasion, might have some cinnamon rolls or a Danish prepared or chocolate cake on a birthday.
Eden, what's your favorite food?
Pasta, pasta, mine. Pasta. Coconut oil.
That's your favorite food? Coconut
Do you mean
oil?
coconut ice cream?
Coconut ice cream? Coconut ice cream?
That's my favorite.
Like about
Or
it,
you
it's
could use one of those
rich.
bigger ones, but this kind of nice.
Sorry. So I was going to
We do our best to make a difference that what we're eating is going to also benefit the planet, from where we're buying it to how we're using it, trying to grow as much as we can on our own so that we actually do make an impact on the planet by not having to be supplied with our food, but actually supply it ourselves.
A lot of organic farming uses blood and bone and fish meal and products that were derived from animal exploitation. So, ethically, we have a problem with that. This doesn't feel quite right, so we had to evolve it to veganically. Vegan organic or veganic gardening is the marriage of the two principles, organic and veganism. In the veganic system, rather than adding non-organic chemicals into the earth or using soil enrichers that were derived from harming animals, we use non-animal based fertilizers such as compost, hay mulch, nitrogen-fixing cover crops or green manures, and rock dusts.
A lot of people do use animal manures and it does give quick results, but in the long term you're better off building your fertility with plant products, because basically animal manure derives from plant products anyway, it's just more concentrated. We do grow a large amount to feed the many visitors that we have every year. We feed on average between 10 and 20 people every day. We pick salad greens, and when we have them available, like sweet corn and carrots and beetroot and all the herbs and tomatoes and cucumbers and potatoes and a huge array of different vegetables. There's lots of tasks when it comes to organic and veganic farming, making compost and mulching and growing green crops and getting the soil prepared for planting, and depending on what soil you've got and whether you do a no-dig or a big garden or whatever, a huge array of tasks, and they're all different and varied. It makes gardening quite fun. Have a solar dehydrator. That's one that in the US, the universities did a competition so you could design the best solar dehydrator, and that one that we have there came out on top. And basically it's just a big square box that is black, and it takes the sun and it has a vent at the bottom, so the air draws the hot air up into a big chamber where it's got ventilation and trays inside. So when the air goes up, it goes through the trays and out at the top and dehydrates the products like dried fruit and dried herbs, dried kale, to make kale chips, and grains to make crackers and things like that.
Sprouts and lentils are great because you get so much food in such a short amount of time. When you pull the sprout out of the surface we grow them in, which is a window screen, the roots grow right through. And when you harvest them, you pull the entire sprout out. You don't have to cut it away from soil. It's very clean. My experience is that the seed has everything it needs in it. The only thing I have to give it is light and water, and it sprouts. And it grows up into these beautiful green leaf plants. Different sprouts grow at different rates. So let's say 3 to 7 days, depending on the kind of sprout. And then while those are growing, about midway, you start young ones. So you can keep a flow of food constantly in a very small amount of space for a lot of people. It's very different than having a full garden that you have to till and fertilize and deal with a lot of different aspects that you don't have to deal with sprouts.
Communal living has been relegated to the distant past, in the 60s and 70s, as though it were a utopian idea or ideal, tried and failed. Well, that's completely untrue. Communal living, or it's kind of related to tribal living, it's just people working together for a common goal. It is a team, just like any team.
We try to work cooperatively together, and the decisions are based on what is right and fair.
We have such a need to cooperate, because the life is so gigantic. To do it alone is on every level, whether it be painting a house or just living in this life that's so complex. The powers that be do not want people cooperating. They want people competing. And it's not for the 1960s or 70s, it's for right now, maybe more than ever needed. It also takes away a lot of the labor that you would have to, whatever, do your own accounting or paint your own house or fix your own chair, whatever it is. You've got people when you live together that hopefully some of them know how to do those things. And then you don't have to do them, you have time to do things that make you a better person.
So instead of everyone having one washing machine, we can share one washing machine, which conserves a lot of energy and electricity, of course. Instead of each person having a car, we can share 3 cars, a truck, a van, and a car. That becomes easier in every way.
When we're helping each other or helping anything involved in our gentle world here, it usually takes a lot of effort, but it's like effortless when you see it as a love made visible. It's a way I can give back to a world that I owe by loving and caring for all the things, the tires, the lawnmowers, the clothing, the rags. It doesn't matter. It's all part of our world, and it's purposeful. It makes everything you do, mopping the floor or sweeping or anything, it's all just enhancing a world that I get to live in. And it becomes this not work anymore. There's not work and play. It all becomes this symbiotic relationship. Work, yeah, that would be very hard if it wasn't purposeful.
It's wonderful both on the job, when somebody is doing something that you thought you had to do and you turn around and it's already done, or thinking thoughts that were your thoughts but not expressed quite so well, so that you learn something. It's truly the only way to live is cooperatively.
And then to be living in a place like this surrounded by people who bring out the best in me, not just your partner and your family, but people who share the same goals. That helps me to become a better person than I would be able to on my own.
The truth is, the whole world is a commune. We're a commune of human beings, and we share many more things than differentiate us. And the things that we share are much more important. If we started to look at that, we would cooperate with each other. Look what we could get done if we cooperated with each other. We must cooperate with each other.
Visiting Gentle World is a unique experience. Of course, people get to have an incredible nature experience here, which for a lot of the people who come, most of us grew up in cities. That's what we knew, what our lives were. And coming to a beautiful place like this, people have the opportunity to commune with nature in a way that they might never have experienced before, whether that's being out under the starry sky at night or jumping in the river for a dip in the middle of the day.
I love the gorge. So many favorite places. The gorge, I can feel the water rushing. All this good, clean water, not contaminated. Just get drink from it. There's endless water. I just feel myself drinking the water there. And I love to walk to the top of the mountain and watch the sunset. There are a lot of places here.
Since September 2014, I met Gentle World in Hawaii, and I came as just a volunteer. And since then, it's changed my life. I mean, in all sorts of ways. It's opened my heart, it's opened my mind, not just for one another, but for the animals. To look in an animal's eyes, to look into one another's eyes and feel nothing but love and compassion.
I really became a vegan when I came here to Gentle World. I knew about veganism. I had started to move in that direction. But when I came here, that was the first time I really understood what veganism means. It moved in on me that this is more than just something that you do because you object to the way animals are treated. That this is really a very deep personal commitment to non-violence and to ending injustice and cruelty.
It's to live in a society where we're so consciously aware of everything we do, from the rubbish, from the water conservation, to feeding our souls through creating. We're creating a new, better world.
Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Bombing away.
There are beautiful places where you can visit, places that you can travel to and maybe take a hike in or camp or something like that. But to actually be able to live in this kind of beauty was something I didn't even know was possible.
To me, it has been a very enriching experience because I've never had this kind of experience before, like living in a community, self-sufficient community, and moreover vegan. So yeah, it's very rich to be here and very inspiring for me.
Gentle World to me represents a new paradigm of living, a new paradigm of gentleness and of living together and helping each other and trying to make a difference. And not just doing that in our own personal way, but doing it in a way that helps the greater community that you're living with and the wider community of the animals and the world that we live in. As an ever-evolving, changing, growing, beautiful family of friends.
Gentle World means many things to me. I would say, firstly, it's been a vegan sanctuary for me, where I can live with friends and feel the same about doing no harm to the animals. Other than that, it's about making our life happier, making a gentle world, making a place where people can feel safe, where we can grow, where we can learn about who we are. You don't really feel alone. There's a support system.
This is how powerful that vegan move is. After 45 years, I am still reaping its benefits, and its benefits continue every single day.
It's a vision that needs to be enacted on a global scale. If all the people in the world who had kids raised their kids vegan, the world would be transformed in a generation.
It's the next important step in the evolution of humankind. We have to become vegan.
Just have a little respect, that's all. They want to live just like we do.
Every human being has that power in himself, and not support it, and it's important that you do because it's the right thing to do. Not only for them, but for you, for everything, for the planet, for everything that lives. There is no argument anymore.
Veganism for me is saying that I care, and I will always care.
If we have any chance of being beautiful, and I mean really beautiful, underneath the mask, it's going to have to come from doing what's right.
Veganism gives us as individuals a tool for how to change our own lives, our own experience of life, and also our impact on the rest of the planet.
It's the only hope that I see for this planet is if this world become vegan, which means they begin to have compassion.
Like if everybody lived this way, we could save the world.